Hey guys, Twerk17 here, coming at you with another Star Citizen video. And this one is going to be sort of my reaction to the recent round the verse where Disco Lando came out and told us that ATV is going to be taking a 3-week hiatus after each quarterly release. Reasons stated were basically it is a very big strain on the developers, and usually during that time, the developers are really tied up in meetings and other things regarding the next quarterly patch. So I think that got the community a little bit riled up, and even previously, before this recent update on Around the Verse, we had a lot of discussions about whether or not our Star Citizen subscriptions are even worth it, and a lot of that discussion wasn't actually based on the rewards that you get. It was more based on, is the community content worth it? And I think this is an appropriate time to kind of share my thoughts, suggestions, and I spent a lot of time thinking about this and not really saying this stuff emotionally and really thinking about it, doing research on what other dev studios do and all sorts of things. So I want to open a dialogue with you guys and see what your suggestions are and just kind of go from there. Now, my experience as a backer, I've been a backer since 2013. I was actually drawn to Star Citizen because of a community content video with Chris Roberts, talking about the economy and how deep they wanted to go into it, talking about owning a factory and all the different kind of supply lines and pirates and all that stuff. Got me really excited about the game. It basically made me think about games that I wish I could have played when I was a kid. I also was a huge Wing Commander fan when I was a kid, going to my friend's house because I didn't have a PC that could play it, and then begging my parents to get me a PC so I can play Wing Commander 3, and it barely could. I also have watched basically every single community content video up to this date, give or take a few, of course. But I also have experience in seeing what goes into the production of these videos. I was involved in Gamescom 2016. I was one of the streamers that did the booth event there. I obviously wasn't a part of the main event or whatever, but the booth event. And I was also a part of the anniversary stream 2016 where Star Marine was debuted. So I kind of saw what goes into a lot of these things and how much hard work goes into these things. So as far as having an opinion on the subject, I think I'm fairly qualified to speak on the subject because I've kind of seen both sides. And for the meat of the video, I really want to talk about 4 major issues that I see with the current community content and community management in general. And the first one would be stop trying to reinvent the wheel. The major thing that I took from Lando's update on this recent ATV was that they go and try and do things that no other development studio would do as far as their updates. And I think what he means by that is a lot of the dev interaction that they have, where they record a dev talking about what they're working on. And that seems to be putting a decent strain on them and maybe the production of the game as a whole. And we've kind of seen them pulling back on that over time over the last few years. And I think that's why we're starting to get a little bit more disappointed maybe with what the content is because we were used to it one way and now we're starting to see them pull back a little bit. Now, what I want to talk about is what other dev studios do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with CIG or Star Citizen looking at what other studios do and starting to implement some of those things, because I think a lot of other studios do this a lot better, to be quite frank. And the real gold standard here with community management and specifically community updates would be, for me, is Warframe. I asked my community who some of the best at community updates were, and a lot of people said Warframe, so I went ahead and looked at it, and I am blown away with the amount of stuff that they're doing each week. Granted, a lot of it is because they're doing updates for Xbox and PlayStation, so they have separate kind of updates for each like console and stuff. But as far as their major updates, they're doing one community-based update every week, and then every other week they have a dev update where they have the developers sit down and discuss what's going on. And I think that Warframe is a really, really good example to take with Star Citizen because their game is free to play. They have to be funded by their community. And I think their community team understands that and really, really are cultivating their community as much as possible. And I may discuss this a little bit later, but I think one of the issues with the Star Citizen community is that we have community management and we have community managers, but in a lot of cases, we sort of manage ourselves. And our expectations and the way we've grown is through the way we interact with each other, not necessarily the way we interact with the studio. And the community management at Warframe is doing something where they are very, very, very involved. So during these community updates that they do every week, we're seeing things like fan art. On their intros, I'm hearing music that is obviously made by the community about Warframe, and it's like really funny. There's laughing and memes and jokes like nonstop related to the game. There's the community managers playing the game on stream with the viewers that are watching the stream. That is a big one. And that's something where I think Star Citizen is in a place that you can do that. Bugs and all. It doesn't matter, right? You have fans of the game, and those are the people that are watching you, and those are the people that you continue to cultivate. And as new players come in and see how wholesome the community actually is with the team, it's going to grow and grow and grow. That dev-focused stream every 2 weeks, not every week, every 2 weeks is something to really hit on there. Is every week, it's very difficult to show what's going on in game development. I think being around this for quite a while, we see there's some good ATVs, there's some not so good ATVs, there's some good RTVs, there's some not so good RTVs. So having a sit down with some developers every couple weeks should kind of lower the load a little bit and really kind of engage the community in what's actually important at the time. And that's really, really all I have for that. I think there's a couple other studios that do things really well as well. So just some honorable mentions here. I think Paradox Interactive, they obviously make a lot of other games, but they have dev clashes and videos with their actual studios that make those games, where their devs are playing it and they're interactive with their communities as well. And I think even just a small game like Satisfactory and Coffee Stain has done some really good updates where they, kind of just show what their community's done with their factories, and they name them and they link the videos, and I think they're really, really nicely involved with their communities. Now, I really just want to take this and say, what do you guys think? Like, this is very much my opinion, but what do you guys think about Warframe and how they do their community management? Are there any other studios that you think would be a great example of what CIG can do in the future? Because there's no denying that I think the community updates have been more lackluster of late, and we were ready for something new and fresh and exciting. Now, this next issue, the next issue on the list here is a pretty quick and short one, and I think Chris Roberts should be on camera more often. I think we get Chris maybe once a quarter nowadays, and going back to the old 10 for the chairman days and where we came from back in the day that really kind of cultivated this community into what it is now. We love to talk to Chris, and I think we really are in line with Chris's vision on what Star Citizen should be and what we want it to be. I think very often when things got delayed and when things had issues, Chris would put out a letter to us and say, hey, we're trying to make the best game ever, and I need your support to continue doing that. And I don't think we stopped the support because we truly believe in him. And I don't know any other way to say this, so I'm going to be pretty blunt, and this may upset some people, and I apologize if it does. I don't intend for it to upset anybody, of course, especially not Chris. But we've backed over $200 million so Chris can make the game of his dreams. As a backer, I feel like he owes it to me to be on camera more often and communicate with me as a backer more often about what's going on in the studio. And in my research with other dev studios, the studio lead is very often engaged on these type of streams, and they're on camera more often. And with a game like Star Citizen, where it's a Kickstarter funded style game, it's completely funded by us. I think the man at the top should be more involved with us. And I think it's pretty simple. And I'll just leave it there and kind of ask you guys what you guys think about that. And the next issue on the list would be community engagement, and in my opinion, the lack thereof. So we as the Star Citizen community have grown pretty significantly over the years, but one thing that I've noticed is that the engaged community has not grown at the same rate as the backers have. If you watch the old Wingman's Hangar videos, they have a similar kind of view count as the Around the Verse videos do today. They're really not that far off. We're talking a difference of about 30,000 views. And over 5 years, and over the amount of growth and amazing things that Star Citizen have done over the years, you would expect that to have grown. And part of my argument here is that on those video updates, with the production value going up, the engagement has gone way down. And I feel like there's starting to become this separation between us as the community and them as the people who update the community. And what I'd like to see more, and let's go into this first. I think Star Citizen does a great job of making me feel like I'm involved in the development of the game. I think they've done that very, very well. I feel like my opinion matters, and things that I say, and things that we say as a community often impact the game, for good or for worse. We have an impact, and I think that's something that's great. What I don't like, and what I've kind of am noticing that disappoints me, is that I don't see not the devs necessarily, and not the community team necessarily, but just Star Citizen as an entity, I guess, and the community don't seem to be the same thing. I would like to see a lot more of the community team, I guess. I don't know who's involved and what their day-to-day is at their job and what they should be doing as far as Star Citizen goes. But what I'd like to see is them become part of us a lot more. I think the Star Citizen community is really, really great, and there's, some really, really great things about us, and there's some, minor not so great things about us. And I think we've grown ourselves over the years, whether it's on Reddit or YouTube or Twitch or Spectrum or the old forums. I think we're mature, and we're very welcoming and friendly. And I think the community that has grown has been because of that. Now, if we, again, going back to Warframe, I think they do a really good job. That community team uplifts their community as much as they possibly can, and is involved with them, right? I think there's a difference between the community team being involved with the community and with the development team or community team involving the community with the development, if you see what I'm saying there. I want to see more involvement on the Star Citizen side with the community, and I think with that'll grow that engaged side of the community. And now with that, you should probably start seeing more votes when you do a vote on Spectrum, more YouTube views when you're doing community engaged content. And that's what I want to see more. And I think the Star Citizen community already exists, but CIG and Star Citizen should do a better job of connecting with that community and cultivating it. That's the important thing, is it's their job to cultivate it and allow it to grow, and grow it the way they want it to be and the way it should be. And the final thing that I want to talk about, and I'm also going to add my final solution to the problem here, is sustainability. And that's the major issue here, is every update and every kind of video idea that Star Citizen has had in the past has actually been truly amazing. Starting with Around the Verse, Reverse the Verse, going back to 10 for the Chairman, Calling All Devs, Wingman's Hangar even, and Citizens of the Stars. They've all been really great ideas, but they weren't necessarily sustainable on a weekly basis. And the issue here is just that. And what I'm going to kind of suggest here is pretty drastic. And I don't think Around the Verse should really exist anymore. I think with the advent of the roadmap, I don't think Around the Verse has the same pop that it used to have. Around the Verse every week, we never knew what to expect because we didn't have a roadmap that was telling us what to expect. The roadmap is amazing. It is one of the best things they could have done to keep their development open, and I really, really appreciate it. But it has definitely hurt Around the Verse for me as a backer, and I want to hear what you guys think about that. And I know I'm pretty extreme here in saying that I think that they should scrap Around the Verse altogether, and yell at me all you want in the comments and everything, but it is definitely the least sustainable thing they could possibly be doing. The devs don't have time to be on the show. We're seeing the same devs pretty often, even though it's a studio of 500 people. I'm not sure exactly why. It could be because they don't want to be on the show necessarily, or they don't have time because they're working. It's not sustainable. So what I would like to see, and this is my solution to the problem, and again, I want to hear what you guys think about this, is an RTV style show 1 to 2 times a week. Now, hear me out. It's not the RTV that we have now. It would be kind of a hybrid of RTV and ATV. So you have your kind of live update in the beginning. Talk to us about what's going on. This is what's up in the patch currently. We have a few fixes that are in the works right now. Maybe you play live with viewers. Maybe you show some fan art, like talking a lot about what Warframe was doing. And then when you have something like a big, major, high production value ATV style update on anything, let's say something that's coming in 3.6, like the Black Market system, and show us how that's going to work and make it nice and pretty, and how the Star Citizen way of doing things, they can have all the time they need in the world to do that update. And when it's ready, you show it live on stream. And here's something that I'm getting giddy about it, just thinking about it right now, is I get to watch that update live, and then they get to see our reaction, and then we get to talk about it with them after. In the sense that, like, we can ask a few questions of Lando or whoever is the host of these new shows about that update. And then he could say, I don't know right now, or he can go to the dev and find out, and then we can get that on the next update the following week. Hey, to answer that question from last week, right? And it just puts a smile to my face because I love Star Citizen, and to be involved with that, and to have them involved with us like that, just it makes me smile. It makes me happy. It makes me feel good, and I think that those simple, and I think that they're really kind of simple solutions to a lot of the major problems that go along with these sort of updates every week, are really kind of fixed there. And I want to hear what you guys think about it, and the sustainability of it. And yeah, I mean, I put a lot of thought into this, and I did my best to not react emotionally here, and I wanted to really think about things logically, and what was going on, and what some of the solutions could be. So, guys, as always, if you like the video, leave a like on it, and share the video with your friends. I really want to hear what you guys think about this, so share that video. Let me know what you and you guys think about it, and leave a comment below if you have anything that you want to share about any of my opinions on the show, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.